This is the story of a girl named Rachel Morgan, a highly disciplined and emotionally controlled woman who served in the U.S. Army for more than 20 years. Rachel had spent most of her life in uniform, facing wars, dangerous missions, and emotional losses that most people could never understand, but her biggest struggle was never on the battlefield, it was inside her own home. She was born into the Morgan family in Charleston, USA, a wealthy and respected family known for business success and social reputation. Her father Franklin Morgan was a strict, powerful businessman who believed respect came from control and image, not emotional connection. After Rachel's mother passed away, the house became cold and silent, love slowly disappeared, and only expectations remained. Her younger sister Emily Morgan was the perfect daughter in everyone's eyes. Beautiful, social, and always praised, Emily was the center of attention in the family. Everything she did was celebrated, while Rachel's sacrifices were ignored or minimized. Rachel joined the U.S. Army at a young age, partly out of duty and partly to escape a home where she felt invisible. Over the years, she sent money home regularly, helped during financial struggles, and supported her family without ever asking for recognition. But instead of gratitude, she received distance and emotional coldness. Her father often told relatives she had become too distant after joining the military, while Emily enjoyed the comfort and stability that Rachel's sacrifices helped provide. One day, Emily's wedding was announced, a grand luxury event in Charleston with hundreds of guests, elite families, expensive decorations, cameras, and media presence. Rachel was invited, but not with warmth. It felt more like formality than belonging. When she arrived in her full army dress uniform, she immediately noticed the difference in treatment. People whispered about her, not with pride, but with discomfort. She was no longer seen as a daughter or sister, only as the military officer. Emily greeted her politely but coldly and placed her at a distant table near service entrances, far from the main family seating. Rachel noticed everything but stayed silent. She had learned over years that silence is sometimes the only protection left for a person inside emotional pain. She remembered every sacrifice she had made, the nights overseas, the soldiers she lost, the money she sent home, and the respect she never received back. She also remembered moments when her father dismissed her service as just duty, and when Emily joked privately about military life. The wedding continued with music, laughter, and artificial smiles, but Rachel sensed something unusual. Her father kept moving between guests. Emily exchanged quiet signals with staff, and cameras slowly began shifting toward her table. It was not random. Something had been prepared in advance. Halfway through the reception, Franklin Morgan stood up and tapped the microphone. The music stopped instantly. The room fell into silence. He walked slowly toward Rachel's table holding a cream-colored envelope and said, "This is from all of us." The guests waited, expecting drama, expecting emotion, expecting her to break down, but Rachel simply looked at him calmly. She had seen control like this before, not in war, but in families where authority is used as emotional pressure. She opened the envelope slowly. Inside was a formal letter stating that after years of distance, disappointment, and emotional conflict, the family had decided to completely cut ties with her. It asked her not to attend future family events and to maintain no further contact. The room waited for her reaction. They expected tears, they expected humiliation, but Rachel read every word quietly, then folded the letter carefully and placed it in her bag. That simple action changed the entire atmosphere. She did not react the way they wanted. Emily smiled slightly, expecting her to collapse emotionally, but Rachel remained calm and said softly, "Thank you, now everything is clear." Her calm voice made the room uncomfortable. What no one knew was that Rachel had already spent years quietly collecting financial records, signatures, and documents connected to her father's business. She had also supported the family financially multiple times during difficult periods, without ever asking for recognition. But instead of respect, she received rejection. That moment, Rachel understood something deeper, that family rights are not one-sided. Parents have rights, but they also have responsibilities, to guide, to protect, and to treat their children with fairness and dignity. Likewise, children also have duties, to respect, to support, and to maintain dignity even during disagreement. But respect cannot survive where only one side is given power. Rachel slowly stood up and said, "I didn't come here to fight, but I will not stay silent anymore." The room went completely silent. Emily's expression changed and Franklin's confidence began to shake. Rachel continued, "For years I thought I was the problem in this family, but now I see the truth. It was never about love. It was about control and appearance." Then she added calmly, "And before coming here tonight, I already sent everything I discovered to legal authorities." A wave of shock spread across the room. Whispers started immediately. At that moment, two men in suits entered the hall and walked directly toward Franklin Morgan. The entire atmosphere changed. No one spoke anymore. Emily froze, unable to understand what was happening. Daniel, her husband, looked at her like he was seeing her true self for the first time. Rachel did not celebrate, she did not smile, she simply stepped back and allowed truth to unfold naturally, because she had learned one thing in life: real strength is not revenge, but patience, truth, and clarity. When she left the hotel that night, she was no longer the ignored daughter trying to be accepted. She was a woman who finally understood that family is not just blood, it is behavior. And later, sitting alone near a lake in Georgia, she remembered her mother's lesson clearly, that parents must fulfill their responsibilities with fairness and love, and children must respect their parents. But no relationship should ever force a person to lose their self-respect for the sake of acceptance. This story reminds us that family relationships are built on balance, not control. Parents are deeply important in every child's life. They give direction, identity, and emotional foundation, but they also carry responsibility to treat their children with fairness, love, and respect. Similarly, children owe respect, care, and gratitude to their parents, but not at the cost of their self-respect or emotional destruction. When that balance breaks, relationships become painful instead of protective. So ask yourself, do we value our parents enough to understand their sacrifices, and do we also understand that children are not meant to be controlled, but guided with love and respect? At the end of the day, real family strength is not about authority or obedience. It is about mutual respect, understanding, and emotional responsibility.